And you know what's my biggest frustration? I just mentioned that I've been going to school for so many years since I was, 5, 6, starting from El Salvador, coming over here, starting 5th grade, graduating high school, going through 6 years of undergrad because obviously school was harder for me than most people. And on top of that, I'm going to grad school and it's still hard for me, but I'm getting through it and I'm getting it done. I'm in the last step of graduating and I need this class to pass. And you're the director. You can make a difference in my life right now or in what becomes of my life after this. I've gone through all of that and your ass doesn't even want to try to help me. Like you don't want, and I'm literally telling him this. I was like, I can't believe it. What is going on, my YouTube familia? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back into another episode of the Carlos Granados podcast. And today, as you can see, I have no guests. It's just me. It's you and I together. But I figured that even though I don't have a guest today, I still wanted to release an episode because I figured I would take this time to, at least with the podcast, to have story time, so you guys can listen to a lot of stories that I have, things that I go through, or things that have shaped me into what I am today. And now we'll discuss a couple of things today, actually, that you guys so you can kind of see what has made me and some of the things that I've become. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But before that, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed to my YouTube channel to watch this content. You can always subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch it in 4K. Thank you for subscribing to my podcast on Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Apple Music, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Spotify. I always get those mixed up. I don't know why. I need to just actually practice that line because I always get those confused. Regardless, I still want to say thank you to everybody who has shown love. Appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification so you can always get notified whenever I post videos, whenever I go live. So, all right. So I did want to touch on a couple of things. And also I wanted to make sure that when I made podcasts like these by myself, I wanted to touch on recent events, on news or things that I feel like are important in my life, just to talk about and discuss. And maybe you guys can hear my opinion on things, right? Because outside of my health issues from my YouTube channel, I do have a life. Believe it or not, I do have a life. But recently, I've been posting a lot of content, so hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Because I've been grinding. I've been grinding it for real. But today I wanted to discuss a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to share with you my journey on grad school and something that happened to me. Something that, to be honest, again, in some shape or form, shaped me into what I am today and who I am today. And the story that I'm about to tell you is kind of wild. Like you can see it so many different ways, but I have my really strong opinion on this. I was talking to a friend about this situation and I was like, you know what? I'm going to share that in my podcast. And things like this I will be releasing on my podcast because I figure it will be a time for me to talk. And that is something that I can do a lot of. So, but before we get right into it, I do want to pay my respects to someone who passed away over the past weekend. And actually, he passed away about 2 weeks ago, but the news was released several days after he passed, and that is Akira Toriyama. And as you can see, I'm wearing the Dragon Ball Z shirt to just show my respect because he was someone who was valuable to me. He was the creator of the Dragon Ball series, the anime. Now, before you even start rolling your eyes or shaking your head, just hear me out. All I ask is that you hear me out. And we're talking about shaping people, right? We're talking about the things that made you. And the Dragon Ball series is something that has been part of my life since I can remember, since I have a memory. The show, I think, was created in like the early 80s, if I'm not mistaken, going into the 90s. And eventually, movies were released and then it came back out in the around 2014, 15, I think, with Dragon Ball Super. But why am I mentioning this? Why am I having time to think about this? For those of you guys that have watched Dragon Ball by any chance, or maybe when you were a kid or so, you will understand what I'm saying to some sense. But The reason I wanted to show my respect to Akira was because, I mean, Dragon Ball plays such a big part in my life. From watching Goku when he was a kid, and then becoming a young adult, and then becoming, um, the strongest warrior ever seen, of course, in that anime. The character development, by the way, in Dragon Ball, it's crazy. I mean, the character development is amazing, man. The things that these warriors have gone through is just unbelievable. That in itself, it's like a beautiful show to watch regardless. But let me tell you why it means a lot to me. So when you're a kid, right? And I grew up, unfortunately, without a father. So I had father figures in my life. Unfortunately, one of my uncles, he passed away when I was 12. So he wasn't around very long, and I have very few memories of him. So when you're a child, when you're a kid, and you watch TV, and your mind is so vulnerable, and you watch someone like Goku, and to show what kind of father he was to Gohan, right? To Trunks, um, and these are Goku songs, by the way. Like, it was an inspiration to what you wanted to become one day, right? The savior of the world, like the protector that you should become as a man, right? The warrior you should be. And when everything is going against you, the fighter you should be. And I sound passionate when I talk about this, but that's because, again, when you're a kid and you see the things, a lot of things can shape you in a different route. And when you just believe in some things when you're a kid, and you're watching things, you wanted to become a Super Saiyan, you wanted to become strong, you wanted to be this, you wanted to be that. It's a kid's mentality. But eventually, as you grow older, you start, growing a little bit out of it. But some of those emotions and sentiments kind of never leave you, because they either helped you go through a tough time. They either help you go through an emotional moment. Again, I didn't grow up without a father. So when I was watching Dragon Ball Z, Goku was a father figure that I kind of looked up to, right? That showed me what a father figure should be like. And that's the reason, like, the show hits a little bit deeper than it shouldn't. And you guys are wondering, oh, it's a show, dude. This is real life. I get it. 100% get it. And I'm not trying to make this, character or, Akira something that, more than they should be. But there's a lot of things in life that shape you. There's a lot of things that help you go through certain things and tough times in life. And this was just one of them. So I've always, watched the show, even now in my late 20s and my early 30s. To me, it has a special place in my heart. And when I got the news that he had passed away, it really hurt me. And I never cry for celebrities or like famous people. It's rare that I do. If I ever do, I don't remember the last time I ever did, to be honest. But this one hit home. This one hit hard because it had way too much sentimental value, and what it did as a kid and carrying on into life is just, it just hits me a little bit different. And I won't lie to you, I legit cried and I felt really, really bad because someone important that created a show that was important to my life had passed. And I mean, even you guys must have seen, the news. Everybody, I mean, soccer teams, to ABC News, I believe, and celebrities all over the world. This is how big this show was. This is how big did it not only shape myself, but people that now you look up to. They watched this show, right? They saw, Dragon Ball, and they acknowledge how important this was for their upbringing, just like myself, right? And one of the things I can always think of that helps me get through things is when Goku's going through struggles, right? When he's losing a battle or he's about to die, and then I compare myself in a similar aspect when I'm going through my health struggles, when I'm going through a lot of issues and I'm going through episodes where I feel like I'm about to die. What is it that you think about? Family, your friends, what gives you strength? Family, strength, hope. Literally, that's in the show. It shows so many times what Goku was always fighting for. Family, friends, hope, just fighting evil, right? And as a human, you can relate a little bit to that because you're also fighting fights, obviously, that it's real life, but it holds weight. And sometimes there's not a lot of things that you can grasp onto. Of course, I'm a believer, right? And I believe in God, and He's my Lord and Savior. And you hold on to that. But then there's other things that can still help you, like your family, your friends, hope. I go back into times I watched the show and I'm like, nah, Goku, he got out of it. You know, he did something that, and I'm like, I gotta have a warrior mentality, right? Obviously, I'm not a warrior in the show, but I'm a warrior in life, right? I'm God's warrior now, and I'm a fighter, and I'm gonna continue fighting until whatever takes me down takes me down. But the just that hope that it gives you is very meaningful if you grasp the right things from any show, right? And this can apply to anything. I mean, maybe some of you guys watch shows, movies, whatever the case may be. You know, when it turns to reality, there's a lot of things that you can grasp from certain things that can keep you fighting, that can motivate you. When I work out, I listen to the music that played in the Dragon Ball series, right? And that itself keeps me healthier, right? Because I'm working out, or I'm walking or I'm running. Just motivates you. It motivates you a little bit, even though it's an anime. I mean, it comes from an anime, but little things like that throughout my life played a big role. Just to give you some examples, you know, and it was just very sentimental because my cousins watched it, my friends watched it. We could always relate to it. I was always buying shirts. I mean, the background on my computer screen, guys have seen this on my YouTube videos. It's Trunks, which is part of the Dragon Ball Z anime. It's literally the screensaver is Trunks. When you open up, it's Trunks turned into Super Saiyan, and it's just beautiful, you know, like the image is so fire. So, I mean, you name it, right? And I fell in love with the show again, even after the Dragon Ball Super was released. Well, I tell you all of that just to show respects to someone that again that played a lot of a big factor in my life. Over the weekend, I felt very emotional, and I guess I will let you guys into some of the things that I watch or I see or things that motivate me in my life, because I am going still through a lot of things in my life, right? That I'm battling outside of just living life, just like many of you guys are, right? Whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual, there's other things that can help you go through a lot of things. And in this situation, this is something that just affected me differently. And, I just thank him for the memories that I was able to build as a kid that you don't forget, and the things that because of the show throughout my life just gave me hope, right? That just made me wanted to fight a little bit harder. That made me wanted to push a little bit more. So I'm thankful for Akira and everything he did. So rest in peace, Akira Toriyama, for everything you did. And there's not enough I can say for what you did to a lot of people in our community. You helped build a lot of men, to become fighters, to become providers, to become just a better man through your show. Believe it or not, whether you think it's ridiculous or not, it did. It just did. And that's all I can say. So rest in peace. So now let's get a little bit less emotional, but still just as emotional, because I wanted to share something that I had experienced, and I experienced going through grad school. And this story is it holds a lot of sentimental value because of a person that, didn't give me a chance when I was in grad school. And that was, I believe it was the director of, the economics department. So as some of you guys know, I graduated from Georgia State University with my master's degree in economics. And look, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. School has never been my strong suit. School has always been tough for me. I mean, I didn't learn how to really study until I was at the end of my undergrad. Like literally my last year, I had to literally learn how to study, because typically when I was in high school, I was smart enough to pass the classes with A, Bs, and some Cs. I was good. I didn't need to study. I didn't learn how to study, right? I was concentrating in other things like sports or something, and that bit me in the butt later on in the future. Well, when I was in undergrad and I graduated my degree in economics, I remember that it was really hard to find a job just with a degree in economics, and plus I didn't have a lot of experience on my field, so it was just really hard. So what I decided to do was apply to get my master's degree. And let me tell you my whole story, because this whole story is a build up. It's a build up to, applying to my master's degree and graduating. So I decided that I would take a shot to apply into my master's degree in economics, and I did. But at the time when I was applying, I think you needed the GRE in order for you to get into a master's program. What I didn't know though was that since I'm an alumni at Georgia State and I decided to go to grad school at Georgia State, I don't need to take the GRE. And I didn't know that until later. I took the GRE twice, and one time I literally left the GRE. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. This is not for me. So let's look at another route in life that's not grad school. Well, I had already started my application to grad school, and I submitted all my documents, and I was missing one letter of recommendation. And that letter I never got because my professor went out of the country, I believe, over the summer. So I wasn't over the summer or over some time. I don't remember exactly when, but she didn't give me the recommendation letter on time. So Georgia State calls me. He's like, "Hey, Carlos, saw you're interested in applying to the program. Are you still interested? Because we're accepting applicants." And I'm like, "Listen, I am, but let me be honest with you. I took the GRE, and it was just not for me. The first one I didn't do too well, and then the second one I just couldn't take a 4 or 5 hour exam. It was just too much for me. And on top of that, I don't have the third letter that I need." Well, the first thing they said was, "You don't need the GRE because you are a Georgia State alumni." So I think they looked past that, and I'm like, "Wait, are you serious?" I'm like, "Are you for real?" They're like, "Yeah, we don't need that. You can still get accepted into the program." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Well, what about the letter?" And she's like, "Well, we can take two. If you submit two and not three, that's still okay. You can take two." So I'm like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Okay, here we go. Here we go." I was like, "Okay, let's submit the letter." So I end up submitting the letters, and I think it was around maybe September or October, and I got the news on Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving of 2017, and the news that I got accepted into my master's program. And I was really, really excited because the master's program, the economics master's program, was ranked in the nation, right? So I figured I had a second chance at making up what I didn't do well in my undergrad, right? The undergrad was for my family, especially for my mom. I wanted to give her that diploma and just make her proud that, your son went to school and he graduated. To us, that was just important. To her, that was important. But for me now, the grad school, the master's was for me, right? And I'm going to ball out. I'm going to go into the master's program and try to do my best to get good grades and get a great job. Well, this is where the story begins, and this is where it starts, right? So luckily for me, I found really great friends, and shout out to everybody who had played a major part in my master's degree program, because we stuck together. So the program is 2 years. 2 years. I told you, and like I mentioned earlier, it was a ranked program. So it's a pretty difficult program. I wanted to get different concentrations. So right now I have a master's degree in economics with concentrations in quantitative methods, international economics, and public finance. So there's 3 of them. But the main one that I focus on was, quantitative methods, because I wanted to become an analyst. So the program was 2 years, and I literally have we made a plan with the friends that I met through grad school that we could graduate in a year and a half. And it's not even a year and a half. It's not even 18 months. It would have been 16 months, because we would have taken, three classes, which, by the way, I had no idea that full-time in grad school are 3 classes and not 4. From my experience, full-time has always been 4, not 3, but in grad school it was 3. So we took 3 one semester, 2 over the summer, 3 the other semester, and then, the other 3 the other semester. So it would have been 16 months. And that is something that I would have been so proud of myself. Like, from barely graduating undergrad to now focusing on graduating with my master's in 16 months. So I'm on my way. The first year passes. The first semester I did well. I did average, and then my second semester my over the summer semester I did well, and then after that I did even better. So my GPA at this point is like a 3.3, 3 point something. So I'm on, not the greatest. Again, school is not my thing, man, but I'm making it. I'm making it through. And my last semester, I get the internship with the CDC. So, this is pre-pandemic. So I'm like excited to have a great internship, working for the government, making my networking connections. And I'm like, bro, it's adding up. It's lining up. And unfortunately, my health issues hit me really bad in the spring semester of 2019. So from January to like May. I was literally, the Nielsen multiplication was killing me. Like I was not able to sleep more than 4 hours. I was not able to eat anything. I was going through such a struggle that it was so hard for me to walk from the parking lot to my class, which was like 2 blocks away. Because if I were to walk from the parking lot to my class, my heart rate would reach like 120, 130, and it would stay like that for about an hour. Reasons I still don't know why. The conclusion that I came up with was that my Nielsen multiplication, which is a surgery that I had for my stomach, was failing, and it was failing really bad, and it was affecting my heart rate, which was crazy. So at this point in life, it gets worse. It gets worse, and it gets worse. And like I said, to the point where I couldn't even walk to class. There was a time where for 2 blocks, I had to take an Uber from the parking to my classroom. And you're wondering, bro, what? That's crazy. And it's just as crazy as it sounds. I was not able to walk from my parking lot to class. It was not anxiety. It was not me overthinking it. It was I was not able to walk a couple blocks with my backpack on, because that's weight, right? My backpack was had a little bit of weight. My body would feel that, and then my heart would start racing, and everything was just hurting me to its core. Like, it was just affecting me, and naturally it affected me in class. One of the classes that I was taking was econometrics, and that was the second semester of econometrics that I needed to finish to get my concentration in quantitative methods. So throughout the semester, sometimes I would miss class. Sometimes I would literally go to class and I would be there in time. But because my heart was like at 130, 140, I was outside waiting for it to go down, because then I got anxious. I'm like, what if I'm in class and I have to leave? Well, I can't be in class right now with my heart rate this high. I won't be able to concentrate. When I'm concentrating is on my heart rate. So I'm going through it, man. Like, at this point, I'm thinking, I've worked so hard to make myself proud, to make my family proud, to graduating in, 16 months in a ranked master's degree program, with the help of my friends, because they know that I had to work extra hard, and they had to help me a little bit more, which I'm always thankful for. I had to go through all of that, and now this class, I'm bombing it. If I don't get above a 3.0, you don't graduate in grad school. I already had that, I was good. If I just get a B in this class, I'm chilling, I'm graduating, move on to the next step. And at the time, I had met someone at the CDC that, is really near and dear to my heart, who helped me, get connected, helped me apply to get a job now at the CDC, which I work now, which is, I'm giving you the rundown things. So I'm like, I basically had almost, I wouldn't say a job secure, but I had really good connections that once I got my master's degree, I would have been helped getting into the government, right? With the process and everything. So I basically have it made. This is what I worked for. This is again, the stars are lining up. The universe is just lining up. And because of that, I don't do well in one of my classes. So this is where things get really emotional. And to this day, I still don't understand what happened. I end up going to my professor, so who at the time I believe was the head of the economics department. He was somebody above, like, who was just I don't know what to call him, but I believe he was a director of like he was overseeing the economics department. So I go to him, and of course I noticed that I think I have a D in the class or something like that, and that's not good enough for me to graduate. Like, I won't be able to pass this class. I passed my class, which was my internship. It was considered a class, and the second class that I had, I did pretty well on it. So I'm literally set to graduate, accomplish all my goals. And I go up to him, and I'm like, look, I came to talk to you because I came to be honest with you. I'm not doing well in this class, and I know that I need this class to pass because I can't get another C. I couldn't pass it with a C. I had already gotten one C my first semester. So you can't get two C's in grad school, right? They will not accept that. At least where I went, they were not accepting that. So I'm like, I'm going to need a B. I was like, is there anything that I can do to take another test, to do extra assignments, extra homework? I mean, anything so I can pass this class. And he was just like, nope, you can't. There's nothing you can do. Keep in mind, I don't know if this plays a factor, but it was hard to even communication because I don't think he spoke, like, his English was good, but it was not like Americanized English. I know my English is not perfect either, but you can tell that he had, a deep, deep, deep accent. I don't know where he's from, and I really don't care. But, even communication, I felt like was a little bit hard. So I was like, well, why not? I mean, I have proof that I have gone to hospitals, and at the time I was going through hospitals, in and out through hospitals. I mean, I think I had gone to the doctor and maybe urgent cares about 10 times in a span of, I don't know, 4 months, maybe even more than that, to be honest with you. So I'm going through it, literally going through it. And I tell him, like, I have proof that I'm not lying to you. Like, this is me being honest, and I want to show you that. Like, can we work out anything, right? I'm not asking for you to just raise my grade. I want to work for my grade, and this is my last step. And he says, no, he can't do it. So at this point, frustration kicks in. I know what's at stake, and I start getting emotional. I start crying, but I was crying not for him to feel sorry for me, but I was crying out of frustration, anger. Why is he not understanding? And it just hurt me. So I said to him, I was like, man, I was like, professor, I was like, we go through school, since we're kids, and I'm in a master's program, and this is literally the end. Like, I'm not going to get my PhD. This is the end of my educational career, right? If in the future I decide to go back to school, so be it. But right now, at this moment, this is the end. This is the end of one chapter that I've been, that has been years, decades, and now I'm trying to move on to my career. And I've worked so hard to get to this point. And I can show you proof that I'm sick and that I have been going in and out of fucking hospitals and urgent care and freaking doctors. And it's so frustrating because I don't have control over this. And I'm being honest with you. I need you to work. I need you to work with me. I need you to help me out. I'm not asking for a pass, but I'm justifying everything that I'm saying. I'm coming to you and letting you know what's going on. Maybe my mistake was not coming to you earlier and showing you what I've been going through. But at this point in time, would it have made a difference? When he's not even considering the option of, can I do anything else for this kid, right? And you know what's my biggest frustration? I just mentioned that I've been going to school for so many years since I was, 5, 6, starting from El Salvador, coming over here, starting 5th grade, graduating high school, going through 6 years of undergrad because obviously school was harder for me than most people. And on top of that, I'm going to grad school and it's still hard for me, but I'm getting through it and I'm getting it done. I'm in the last step of graduating and I need this class to pass. And you're the director. You can make a difference in my life right now, or in what becomes of my life after this. I've gone through all of that, and your ass doesn't even want to try to help me. Like you don't want to, and I'm literally telling him this. I was like, I can't believe it. You promote edu fucking cation, and I'm frustrated right now because my emotions are coming back. I apologize. You promote education, and you're telling us that you want us to succeed. This is a rank master's program. And the moment that a student needs help, for you to help him succeed, you don't do shit about that? Nah, family. I could not understand why this man was being so negligent on trying to help me, or at least do anything for me. I don't know if he believed that I was just lying. But I told them I have proof. If he would just to take a step and said, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? If everything you're saying to me is true, I would give you a chance. Why not? Why not take that step? Why not say or try? Like I mentioned, you're a school, you're a university. Your goal is to help us out. I also even told them I have a job lined up coming after this. If I graduate, everything that I've worked for is accomplished, right? Like I start working for the federal government. I'm going to have a really good career. And I literally went to school to get to this point. And you're telling me that just a no, there's no help, there's nothing you can do about it so I can graduate and start my career? Bro, that was so hurtful. That hurt. There's a few things that have hurt me so bad, like this conversation that I had with this professor hurt me. And I just couldn't understand. And at the end of the day, I made all my points. And he still decided not to give me a chance. To be honest, for some time, this was before I got saved. I had a lot of hatred, or at least a lot of. I would say I had some hate for the guy. Because I didn't understand, because I was suffering from something that I couldn't control. You're not giving me a second chance at anything. And, all this bullshit that you're talking about education, for a school, and for you not to do anything about it when I have everything lined up, it just hurt me a lot. But eventually I forgave him in my heart. I got saved and I started understanding that I needed to have grace and I needed to be forgiven. And I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, remove these feelings that I have for this man. Remove whatever anger, hate, or feeling of just not understanding. Remove that from my heart and replace that with peace. Because whatever you did or let happen or did not let happen, I mean, this man he affected me in a type of way that is just, very hurtful, and I need to forgive him. Whether he was wrong or right, I just need to forgive him. And I did. And my emotions are there, but I do not, hate this man. I have no hard feelings. I hope he's doing well. I hope, he's still alive because he was an older gentleman. And this is not even the irony of all this. Wait, it gets better. Wait, there is more. So, graduation time comes up. Remember, for graduation, you have to apply early, probably around like February or March. So my name is on the graduation list. I'm literally due to walk on in May of 2019, and I go through the motion, right? Because regardless of whatever I did, I was walking because I thought that I could graduate in the summer or going into the fall. So everything the day comes of graduation. I'm meeting with my friends. Of course, I have that huge uncertainty. And when I hear my name, Carlos Granados, and I'm walking on the stage, guess who is putting the toss on me? What's that called? The little, I don't know what the hell it is that you wear, the gown. I'm assuming the gown or something like that you wear for masters. The master's degree has a certain type of gown, and then PhD have a certain, like, a separate one and stuff. Guess whose hand I have to shake when you walk down to get your degree? The same professor. And this is what I'm telling you. This is like the head of the department typically does that, right? Whoever is in charge, he's the one that's gonna, congratulate you. So he puts that on me, and I look right into his face, and he just sees me, and to be honest, I don't know what to believe. Like, at this point, I'm going through the motion. I shake his hand. At the moment, you can't help but feel some type of happiness. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I just can't believe it. Like, I can't believe it's so fake. You're shaking my hand. I'm not graduating. And I'm walking down, and I'm just like, I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. So I walk down, shake whoever hand I had to shake, and I'm happy at that point. I am happy, because even though I will not be getting my diploma, I did accomplish something, up to that point. And regardless, I will still be able to graduate in time, because remember, I'm graduating quote unquote early up to this point, and he took that away from me. So after the ceremony, I go to the restroom, and guess who's in the restroom? The same professor, bro. And I see him again, and at that point, I'm just like, how's it going? How you doing? And he's like, good. How are you? I'm like, I'm good. That's all we had. That small talk we had. I didn't know what else to say, because I had spoken my heart out to him, and it was just very unfortunate. So I never saw him again. I never saw that guy again afterwards. Of course, I graduated. I still continued to take my classes. Things got complicated, and I guess I'll get into that a little bit. But over the summer, my health issues got even worse. It was just bad. I felt like, the knee fundoplication at this point, that GERD surgery was killing me. So I started taking a class that would replace the class that I was taking over the spring, and then I would be able to graduate by July or August, right? And unfortunately, my health was not good enough. So now I had to drop that class, because, again, remember, I'm going through the summer, and I'm still paying for Ubers to walk down, to go down, what's that called? Because I can't walk, right? So I'm having to pay an Uber to take me 2 blocks down to my class. And during class, I'm anxious, because now my anxiety has kicked in. My health issues are bad. I'm not able to sleep well. I'm taking this class that is a replacement class, and I don't know what's going on, because I needed prerequisites, but I'm not, even taking them, because I'm trying to graduate. So I have my links procedure over the summer, and then I end up getting, I had to take another class over the fall of 2019. So because I didn't do well over the summer, now I had to take 2 more classes to replace the class for the econometrics class. It was the second class. That class is only given during the spring. The first one is in the fall, and the second one is in the spring. So because I didn't pass the second one, if I needed to retake that class and for me to graduate it, I would have to wait a whole year. So it would have taken me 2.5 years to graduate. And I did all the talking. I went and talked to everybody that I could. What's the best way so I can avoid the 1 year timeline that I have left? I was not, I went from graduating in a year and a half to now graduating in 2 years and a half. Like, homie, what? And now the job, at the federal government now could probably be faded away at this point. It's probably gonna walk, it's gone. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. So I throw a Hail Mary at my professor because they told me that the only way that I can take a second course to replace the other class was for your professor to let me in the class. And I'm like, what? I didn't know that professors had that type of power to that point where they can allow a kid or a student into their classroom if they believe that, they can be eligible or, that he's trying to replace a class. But for this class, since it was a math class, not an econometrics class anymore, it was a math class, I would have to replace it. And then I will have to take prerequisites. But obviously I didn't have those. So I send the biggest Hail Mary to this professor. I mean, this was my last option. My last option, guys. I sent the biggest Hail Mary and I typed this email. Hey, prof, I give her the rundown. This is, the only class that I need. I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to do well in this class to get a B in this class. Whatever it takes to do. And because of the other class, my GPA went below a 3.0. So I have no choice but to get a good grade in this class so my GPA can go above a 3.0. Even if I finish this class, it doesn't matter if I don't have above a 3.0. So I'm in, I'm just in the mix, man. And I tell her what happened and I tell her what's going on. And I'm thinking she's going to be like, nope, another no. But I get an email afterwards and she's like, sure, you can go in. So I'm like, oh my God, like she let me into the class. So now instead of waiting a year to graduate, I would just have to take this, the fall semester. And technically I could still graduate on time because it would have completed the 2 years of my master's program, which is the program was 2 years anyways. But it extended, obviously like 8 more months because of everything that I'm telling you now. So she agrees to let me in her course. And, eventually that, long story short, I ended up passing her course with like a B plus or something like that. And then I took another course just in case that I knew would be from like a easier professor that I knew that I would be getting an A in. And that was going to help me average my GPA to a higher average. And it played exactly how I thought it would. I got the B in the class or B plus, which was not enough for me to get above a 3.0. But the A that I got in the second class made it like above a 3.01, 3.02, something like that. And I ended up graduating with my master's degree in economics. And luckily for me, I still had the connections throughout this whole time, these 8 months from the CDC, because I did work hard when I was there. I showed that I could be a good employee, right? I was doing sometimes a better job than some of the guys that were hired there, to be honest, because, as someone who's first generation graduate and has gone to college, bro, anything you throw at me, anything you give me, I'm going to succeed and even do better than anyone who's probably there. That's just my mentality, man. I don't care who it is. I will outwork you because that's something that I can control. I will bust my ass to make sure that I get noticed, that I'm given a chance. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened. I showed my worth. I showed my work. I made my connections. And thank God that eventually 4 months later, I ended up started working for the federal government. And to this day, I'm still here, working, and I'm blessed. You know what the biggest blessing was? I don't know. I don't know how this worked out, but I think this was God's plan for sure. And the reason I say that is because the pandemic started when I started working for the federal government. And they decided to keep us from home. I was like really anxious about going to meet my coworkers, going to the workforce, and having this job. I had just gotten out of my surgery like several months ago. I'm still like recovering and going through a lot of stuff, just to build my health a little bit better for me to be able to even work and perform, right? Because I did want to perform. And at this point, they told us that we're gonna work from home. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, for someone who's been so sick and who's going through all these anxious issues and depression and whatever, bro, I work from home? I'm like, are you kidding me? This is how crazy. Working from home is probably one of the biggest blessings I've ever received. But not just because you used to work from home, but listen to me. I worked when I was in college, and I was healthy. I used to work with my stepdads over the summers. I used to put in 70, 80 hours in a week working in the painting industry. Working. And I was making $10 an hour. 10. I used to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, meet at the shop, which was everybody, gets together and they send us out to the job sites. We probably leave there about 7 o'clock, start work at 8. By the way, you don't start getting paid until you get to the job site, right? So after I woke up 2.5 hours later, then I start getting paid I start at 8. And then I will get out whenever the job was finished or whenever we advanced on a job that was big. Typically, that would be like 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. There was some points where we got back to the shop around 3, 4 a.m. And I was like, what's the point of going home if I'm going to sleep an hour? I'm just going to stay away in the shop. And I would stay in the shop, sleep for an hour, and start the next workday. That's the shit I had to go through when I was in college. That's why I'm motivated to do things in life now that are much easier. So you're telling me I was working 70, 80-hour weeks, and now I'm waking up and rolling over and making, 3 times. At that point, I started making, I think, $55,000 an hour when I started working for the federal government, right? And you're telling me I have to roll over my bed 15 minutes before and I just log in and start working? And as soon as I start logging in is when I start making money, I don't even log in, by the way. We don't log in. We don't do clock in, clock out. That's not how it works. We're professionals, right? You got to take accountability for what you do. You're professional. So we don't do the clock in, clock out, BS. But, you got to complete your work. You got to do what you have to do. And you're telling me I'm working from home now? What? I can eat at home? I don't have to spend money. I don't have to spend gas money. I don't have to wake up an hour earlier so I can shower, change, and drive to my job, spend money on gas, spend money on food. You kidding me? Like, that was such a big blessing, especially for my health, What about nights when I didn't sleep too well? Could I still do my job working from home? Hell yeah. Come on, praise God, man. Praise the Lord. So that was one of the biggest blessings. And the way they played out, it just seems like, God had control over a lot of things over that time. Even graduating, 8 months later after I had this conversation with this guy, the head of the economics department, regardless, even then afterwards, everything seemed to play out pretty well. And now I sit here talking to you guys, and just like I started my story with the Goku and the Dragon Ball Z and the, freaking, just the motivation, the hope, right? The work ethic itself, the good things that you get from shows like that. And combining it with what I'm telling you now, it just part of the process. You know what I mean? It just played out in a great way. And I feel like talking about just what made you, this is part of it, right? My childhood coming back into, real life and facing other things that I needed to face, and what made me. And this is one of them. And now I sit here talking to you guys, having a podcast, being able to buy podcast things, work on my channel, work from home, being able to provide for myself. And now I sit here with you guys making over 6 figures working from home. you know, making 5 times, almost 6 times an hour what I was making as a painter when I was, working 70 hours. And this is not to show off or to try to make hype myself up for no reason. But part of this podcast is just trying to share with you guys what made me. Why am I the way I am now? And both of these things that I told you today play a big role in my life, right? Regardless of which way you see it. And the reason why I'm able to produce content to you guys, right, was because of all of it combined. I let you into my life on things that I had to go through with my sickness. A lot of you guys wonder, Carlos, man, like, how do you go through this? How do you have all this motivation? How do you keep fighting in life? When I was a kid, there was things implanted through a kid's show that it still drives me to this day. And it built on into my adulthood and into my life. And now I carry that. And I carry sentiments like that of a fighter, of a warrior. But now I'm God's warrior, I don't forget that. I don't ever forget that. I'm fighting for my family, my friends, right? I've always said this. Do not let your circumstances define the rest of your life. And it's just part of the process. And it's part of something that I'm letting you in. So if you stuck around up to this point, today, you found out a little bit more of what makes me, what drives me, the things that I had to go through to get to this point, why I'm so grateful to be at this point, and just blessed to be able to share my story. And I continue to suffer from a lot of things, guys. And things, to be honest, seem to be getting even worse if you've been updating with my videos. But all I can do is take it a day at a time and control the controllables. And, I can't control the uncontrollables, but I can let God control those. And what I continue to do is try to work on my health as much as I can, my life. And leave it up to him, But today, I hope you guys found a little bit more of what made me and why I am why I am the way I am, right? Everybody has a little bit of that. I'm lucky enough to have a platform to be able to share. And it's not easy, right? It's not easy to go through all of this, but I did want to share that experience with you guys. Again, to this day, I still don't understand why, this professor or the head of the department never gave me that second chance. And, I'm a point in life where regardless of it, I'm still blessed because it helped me become what I am today, right? It helped me to remember that my second chances and third chances and fourth chances that I take, I'm blessed to have. And because of that, I fight even harder to become a better person in life, to become even better in my career, to keep hustling and busting my ass because I don't want that to ever get taken away from again, and it's something that, again, that has shaped me. So I might name the name of this podcast something along the lines of what made me, or story time or something. But I felt like it was just an important message and let you guys in. Again, when I don't have anybody or I'm hosting anybody, I would love to discuss recent events or recent news that have happened, to stay relevant, of course, with the content, but also to let you more into my life. I think that's also important, especially for the people that have been following me. A lot of you guys have been wanting to know more about me because a lot of things seem so superficial, right? Oh, my health issues, but you look great. Oh, my health issues, but you look like you're doing good. Like, how do you are able to afford all of this? How did the work, school, all this, life? But it's because, what I just shared with you guys today was part of my story. And a lot of you guys probably have never heard of this, how close I was not to being who I am. And I'm not saying school made me or my career defines me. That's not the case. But I am allowed to do a lot of things today and share with you guys a lot because of the income that produces in my life, right? Because of what I'm able to do economically, because of what that job that I have now and I'm blessed to have. So I'll end it at that. To be, if I got into it even more, it's a longer story. But hopefully you guys are able to appreciate this podcast today. And I thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for always showing me a lot of love. And I hope that my vulnerability, that my story can help motivate a lot of you guys, because I'm telling you, man, you guys are going through a lot of things, and I get it. Whatever it is in life, family, health, physical, mental, spiritual, you name it. We all have a story. We all do. And a lot of things might seem superficial to a lot of you guys, but it's a whole process. It's a whole process, and hopefully, you guys learn something new today from me. And I will keep making the podcast episodes, especially when I don't host anybody, to share more stories with you guys. This one was a little bit more sentimental and more deep, but eventually, I want to share funny stories that I've had in my past. I have so many stories to tell you guys, but definitely, I want to save those so I can, just keep creating content for you guys, and then stay on top of like the news and what's going on, stay relevant in my content. So thank you guys for watching my episode today, or listening in on all the platforms. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And thank you guys for the love. I'll see you guys next time. As always, take it easy. Peace and love, familia.